Okay, guys, I decided last minute, which is why I delayed the start of the week, to do this very impromptu video where I'm going to talk about this research paper. Just to give you a little background, this is a research paper that I assigned in a previous course. All the students in the course had the same topic, which was technology integration in education. This particular paper is an A paper, very well done. This paper is also shared on the resources page of the course site, so you can reference it there. But I wanted to take some time and kind of talk through the paper and talk about the different parts of the paper, what works well in the paper, how the paper is written, things like that. And I think this will really help because even though this paper is on a different topic from the one that you're writing about, it follows pretty much the same organizational pattern. So let's get started. So let's just start at the very top of the paper. Notice that the student's name goes here, instructor's name, the title of the course, and the date. That's typical MLA style. So you do want to make sure in your first draft and your final draft that you are formatting your paper correctly. You do want to give your paper a title, and notice that this title is short, it's brief, it's not a sentence. It's just kind of gives readers an indication of the topic, the overall topic that you will discuss and demonstrate in your paper. Let's take a look at this first introductory paragraph. This paragraph begins with a question, and if you haven't had a chance to look at the directions for the research paper, the questioning technique is required for the very first paragraph. And it begins with the research question that you're attempting to answer. So this particular research question is, should technology be integrated in the K through 12 classroom? So if you haven't formulated a question for your research paper yet, you do want to have a particular question that you are attempting to answer. So let's take a look, and I'm just going to read through this. It says, before making a decision, consider these questions. Would it be better to write an essay using pen and paper or a computer and keyboard? If a spelling error was made in that same essay, would it be better if the computer spell check identified the error immediately and it was corrected, or the error goes unnoticed and counts against the final grade on the paper? If the mistake that was made on the essay was found, would it be more efficient to select the backspace key and correct the mistake with a few keystrokes, or to use whiteout, let it dry, and then correct the mistake? So these are some great probing questions that this writer is presenting, making the differentiation between the use of technology versus the traditional pencil and paper way of doing things. And then it says, according to Chen, so this paper actually, the students had an option of integrating one direct quote into their first introductory paragraph, which is a little different from what you're doing. No source material should be added. But let's take a look at this quote that's added. It says, according to Chen, technology is a weapon of mass instruction that can reinvent teaching and learning. Okay, so already we have an idea that this paper will be in favor of technology integration because of the quote that they've elected to add. And then it says, yes, technology should be integrated in the K through 12 classroom. And that's actually the thesis for this paper. This paper is going to reveal research and information on how technology should be integrated in the K through 12 classroom. Okay, let's move on to the next introductory paragraph. Notice that the next paragraph is highlighted with a topic sentence that reveals to readers exactly what they should expect in this next paragraph. It says, background information and historical trends for the integration of technology in classroom date back to the late 1900s. So this next paragraph is going to give readers a sense of the background on this particular topic or issue of technology integration. And chronologically, this paragraph is going to start, gives us an idea of when this actual topic began. So you want to make sure that you can follow your topic back as far as you can find research that supports it, and then gradually move forward with that. Another thing I want to point out about this particular paragraph is that this paragraph is completely supported by research. There's no commentary in this paragraph. All of this data is supported by research. So let's take a look. Technology was the topic of conversation in the 1960s, but did not become a reality into the Apple classrooms of tomorrow. Study provided research that marked a pronounced effort toward improving student outcomes using technology. Cheryl Franklin, who has done extensive research in the area of technology and education, states that the focus of the study expanded and researchers began looking and learning activities, teacher behaviors, competencies, and characteristics, as well as teacher preparation and training. And I'm not going to read this whole thing because this paragraph is pretty long, but notice that none of this information, as it refers to Cheryl Franklin and this Apple's classroom of tomorrow, notice that none of this information is in quotes. All of this data is being paraphrased. So the student is revealing this information using their own words, but they're not taking credit for it because they didn't actually conduct these studies and do this information themselves. So let's scroll down to, and notice there are a couple of in-text citations in there. There's one for Franklin, there's one for Acott, and also notice the transition words. I just had a loss of a thought. The transition words and how they're highlighted to begin, correspondingly, as an example, in short, in the final analysis, okay? And notice the in-text citations throughout. So this is a really good example of a paragraph that reveals the background information on this particular topic, okay? So we, just to do a little recap, we have the very first introductory paragraph that begins using the questioning technique. We have a second introductory paragraph that reveals the background on the particular topic. And now we're moving into the very first body paragraph. So let's take a look and notice that first sentence, that topic sentence is highlighted. The first reason that technology should be integrated in education is the evidence of improved test scores. Okay, and so that's the very first reason to support the thesis that states that technology should be integrated in the K through 12 classroom. Okay, and let's just scan and look at this this first body paragraph. Right away, the writer moves into the research. For example, using the transition word, for example, a 4-year study by Ian Killen used software to monitor student work on graphing calculators. Okay, and notice the in-text citation after this paraphrased data here. All right, then the student gives another example. It uses the student uses the transition word likewise. A second example of improved test scores resulting from the use of technology is Kuluk's meta-analysis data. Okay, and there's the in-text citation for that one. Similarity, a third research finding. Okay, identically, another research finding with in-text citation at the end. Furthermore, Chin reports. Okay, in the final analysis, technology in the classroom does improve test scores, and according to researchers, it also has other proven advantages as well. So notice how the writer is moving through the different research examples that support the topic sentence that technology integration should be integrated because of the evidence in. Okay, I'm sorry, I got a little cut off. This video, although you're watching it as one full video, is in clips. So I only have 5 minutes per clip, so I'm trying to get as much information in per clip as possible as I'm explaining this. But what I was saying when I got cut off is that notice that each example, for example, likewise, similarly, identically, furthermore, in the final analysis, all of these are referencing different research that supports the topic sentence that technology integration should be integrated in education as evidence of improved test scores. And notice how the use of those transition words, and we've been going over transition words a lot this semester, notice how they easily move the reader between the different research examples that the writer provides. That's a very good writing technique, and you want to make sure you employ that writing technique when you create your research paper. This student has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 examples. You don't have to have that many, but if the research provides it, if you have so much research that the research provides a lot of examples for one particular topic sentence, then why not add them? Make sure you add the in-text citations at the end and transition words to let readers know that you're moving from one particular research source to another. Okay, let's move on to the next body paragraph. It says a second reason that technology should be integrated into the K-12 classroom is because it accommodates various learning styles. So again, the writer has supported the thesis that technology should be integrated and given the second reason for that, because it accommodates various learning styles. Immediately after that topic sentence, the writer moves right into the research. Margaret Honey, an educational technology resource and published author, writes that technology allows educators to present information in multiple formats and media. Okay, as an example, moves into a recent research study examined test scores, and then it moves into more information about that. Moreover, a study of Chris Deed of Harvard Graduate School validated information technology's influence on learning styles. All right. And similarity, here's another example. Again, here's another example. Okay, so again, this writer has included 1, 2, 3, 4 different examples in this particular paragraph from 4 different sources, okay, to support that topic sentence that says that technology should be integrated in K-12 because it accommodates various learning styles. So very important that you pay attention to how to move between the different source data that you add using those transition words, how to cite it, how to reference it, how to add it to your paragraph appropriately. These are all paraphrased information. Notice there's no quotation marks on these. This is paraphrased data. This is data the student has reworded using their own words, but they've given credit to the author and the source where that information came from. All right, great. So let's move on to the next paragraph. We're still in the body. We reviewed 2 body paragraphs, 2 different reasons why technology should be integrated. Now let's look at the third. A third reason technology should be integrated into education is because it gives students global access anytime, anywhere. So the student has given yet a third reason technology should be integrated. All right, let's continue talking about this third paragraph, this third body paragraph in the research paper. A third reason technology should be integrated into education is because it gives students global access anytime, anywhere. Let's look at the support that the writer provides for this. It says one of the greatest advantages of the internet in education is that it provides opportunities for students based on their skills and interests. In other words, it encourages engagement and motivation. And notice the in-text citation here. Okay, so this idea that the student has added, again, has been paraphrased, and the in-text citation showing where that data came from immediately follows the end of that information. Okay, the writer moves on. Add to that ability for students access information 24/7, and the ability to educate students have grown exponentially, and it moves on. Then there's an in-text citation showing Chin reports blah blah blah. Okay, another information from Chin. Okay, and then it says similarity. Chin relays another example of anytime, anywhere education in a documentary. Okay, so it goes on from there. In short, okay, this is the end. These are examples of how technology provides student growth. So this student not only has the topic sentence that tells readers exactly what to expect, specific examples within the paragraph that come completely from research with in-text citations to support, but also a little closing statement, which is okay. It's not required. I haven't really touched on closing statements previously, but it's a nice way to kind of wrap up that paragraph if you want to add that. All right, so let's move into the next and final support body paragraph. It says a final reason technology should be integrated into education is because K through 12 students are digital natives and technology is integral to their culture. So that's the fourth reason that technology should be integrated. That reason is in support of the thesis that states that technology should be integrated into the K through 12 classroom. Notice again the student jumps right into the research in-text citation here, uses the transition words to move between the research data, and ends again with that closing sentence that kind of wraps that paragraph up. So that's exactly the way you want to do your paper. You want to begin with that topic sentence, no commentary. You want to jump right into explaining the research, either paraphrasing, summarizing, or adding direct quotes. You want to make sure that you have in-text citations to show where the information came from, and then you can close the paragraph with a closing statement. Okay? All right, so let's move it on with this research paper. Let's do a little recap actually before we move on. So let's go back up. Started with the questioning technique in the intro, gave the background data on the topic. Notice that here again, technology should be integrated in the K through 12 classroom is the thesis. Notice where the thesis comes. It doesn't come in the background. It comes in this first paragraph. All right, then the student gave 4 body paragraphs. The first reason technology should be integrated in the education is the evidence of improved test scores. All right, and then the second reason that technology should be integrated in the K through 12 classroom is because it accommodates various learning styles. Okay, and then a third reason technology should be integrated into education is because it gives students global access anytime, anywhere. And then the final support paragraph states a final reason technology should be integrated into education is because K through 12 students are digital natives and technology is integral to their culture. All right, so next we want to move into the opposing view, and we will do that with this paragraph here. Okay, the opposing view. The opposing view, notice right away that when we move into the opposing view paragraph, the very first thing that we see is a transition word that lets readers know that we're not talking about the support anymore. We're talking about the opposition. It says conversely. Conversely, some believe technology should not be integrated into the classroom because it is used as a replacement for active instruction and is not reliable. So take a look at that topic sentence. It lets the readers know we're going against the thesis that technology should and saying it should not be integrated. We're not going against it per se, but we're revealing the opposing view here. And also the reason. Because it is used as a replacement for active instruction and is not reliable. Immediately after that topic sentence, the writer moves directly into the source material. Scott Taylor is one middle school teacher who thinks that quality education is not dependent on technology. Okay, so there's no commentary there. There's no lead up, there's no build up, none of that. We move directly from that topic sentence into the source material to support that topic sentence. And notice, in contrast to technological advocates, Mr. Taylor believes, blah, blah, blah. Also, he commented. Notice the in-text citation. All right, another one here. Furthermore, exemplifying. Okay, these transition words are moving readers between the support for that particular topic sentence. And notice those in-text citations that are thrown in there after the information has been added. Okay, all right, let's move on to the second opposing view paragraph. It says many reliable sources. So that indicates to us already that this paragraph is not going to reveal a particular reason that technology should not be integrated, but it's going to refer to many different reliable sources. And notice we're always using the research to explain our ideas. So let's take a look. Many reliable sources believe that technology should not be integrated into the K-12 classroom. Let's look at this first one. Similar to Mr. Taylor's opinions, great start because it refers to the information above. It links it with this new information. Julia Klaus, an educator, thinks that there are many negative repercussions in using technology in education. Furthermore, comparatively, likewise, okay, we're moving between the different examples. Karen Howe states, or adds, should I say, okay, nevertheless, all right, so look at all these different examples. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can easily go through them within the paragraph because the transition words guide. They're like stop signs. Stop here and look at this new example that I'm giving. All right, so that's these are the two opposing view paragraphs. Notice they're completely supported with research. There's no commentary. There are in-text citations integrated to let readers know where that information came from. There are transition words that move between the different sources that are added to the paper. This is very well written, so pay close attention to these writing details. All right, okay, last but not least, we want to move into the conclusion. Let's talk about the conclusion next. Okay, right away you'll notice that the writer has signaled that this paper is coming to an end. Transition words like lastly and finally have been used previously, but once you use in conclusion, that signals to the reader that this paper is coming to a close. Okay? The very first, and notice there are two, there's one, there's two, there are two closing paragraphs. You will have two closing paragraphs in your paper. Okay? In conclusion, the effect of technology integration in K-12 education is critical to successful learning and student achievement. So we're not really talking about or advocating anymore. Well, we're advocating somewhat the use of technology in the classroom, but we're looking at it from a little different perspective. The idea in the closing, in the first closing paragraph, is that we're giving readers something else to consider when they look at this paper and they decide for themselves, do I want to use technology in the classroom or do I not? Because as you've seen, this is written from a completely objective standpoint. There's no personal pronouns like I, there's no second person pronouns like you. This topic is specifically written about as an outsider looking in. So this first closing paragraph gives readers just another perspective to look at with reference to the topic that this paper is arguing. Okay, critical to successful learning and student achievement. The positive effect of technology's impact on learning is documented in several studies discussed earlier. So it lets you know where I'm going to reference some of the information that I brought up earlier in my paper, which is also another great closing technique that we refer back to the information that was presented in the body, give readers an update, or it's kind of a last chance opportunity to bring up some of the key points. Right away, I just want you to pay attention to the transition words first, second, for the most part, okay? They move you through the research support, okay? First, research proves, okay? Second, student learning is supported because technology can accommodate, according to Honey. Okay? All right, so this is a good first closing paragraph with specific examples highlighted with transition words using the research from the paper. All right, the final closing paragraph using the questioning technique, asking the same question that was used when this paper was opened. Should technology be integrated into the K-12 classroom? Absolutely yes, and for fundamentally sound reasons. Okay? This is the first one. Second reason, third reason, lastly. And basically notice there's no in-text citations within this last paragraph. This last paragraph is all commentary and it's referring back to those fundamental reasons that were given in the first, second, third, and fourth body paragraphs included above. Okay. All right. Finally, the works cited list. All right. Notice that the works cited entries are in alpha by last name. There are many different sources here. This is a web source. This is a print source. Okay. This is another web source, another web source. This is an online journal article from Academic Search Elite. All right. Here's another one from Learning Point. All right, another web source. Here's another one from Academic Search Elite. Okay, here's one from Academic OneFile. Another one from Academic Search Elite. A web source, here's a personal interview. So this person even did field research. And if you want to elect to do field research, that's going to come up as an opportunity as well. And here's a print source. So notice that the information is coming from multiple different sources, not one source in particular. All right. I really hope that this is useful to you, me going through this paper and talking to you about the different parts. I'm hoping that this is going to be very helpful as you organize and prepare your paper, as well as how you think about how to add the source material to your paper to support those topic sentences. I wish you all the very best of luck.